In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, it's all about Monarch. It's all about Monarch, Legacy of Monsters with Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell. Let's go.
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Nerd. 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 Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and today we are going inside the Monsterverse. I've got Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell joining me to talk about Season 2 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV. Yes, actual Russell family chaos, on screen, off screen, and possibly in between. We talk legacy, we talk giant monsters, we talk what it's like working together as father and son inside a franchise built on literal Godzilla-sized mythology. And trust me, they don't disappoint. And not only am I talking with Kurt and Wyatt Russell, but I'm talking to producer Tory Tunnell and co-stars Anna Sawai, Kiersey Clemons, and Joe Tippett, all about this universe, this Monsterverse, and why it works on TV. You know, we know it works on the big screen. Look at the box office numbers, but this works as a series too, and I find that fascinating. I believe it's because it's more personal. You know, it can get deeper into the weeds, if you will. So, great episode today. Quick reminder, if you want extended interviews, deep dives, breakdowns, reviews that go way beyond what we do here, because, you know, I don't want to take hours and hours of your time every week, head on over to my YouTube channel, Pop Culture Weekly. I've got full interviews, a ton of video exclusives, film and music analysis, and yes, occasionally me ranting about things Hollywood absolutely should have asked me about first, obviously. Just search Pop Culture Weekly on YouTube and hit subscribe. All right, so I want to zoom out for a minute because giant cinematic universes don't just happen, they really are built carefully and strategically, and sometimes under intense pressure from, you know, people like me, fanboys, who will absolutely notice if a single timeline detail doesn't line up. So joining me now is Monarch, Legacy of Monsters producer Tory Tunnell. Tory and I talk about expanding the Monsterverse for television, balancing human drama with, you know, these giant blockbuster scale, and how Season 2 raises the stakes without losing the emotional core that made Season 1 resonate with people. It really was so good. Yes, we love monsters, but if we don't care about the humans, it's just very expensive stomping, which, you know, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that's not what Monarch does. So here she is, Tory Tunnell.
Thank you so much, Tory, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So tell me, what drew you to Monarch? That, you know, you're an executive producer. Why was this something that you were like, I want to do that series?
I think that what's been so exciting to us from the jump is that you get to have this collision in television of absolutely magnificent theatrical spectacle, but we also got to do a deep dive on these character-driven stories. And I think that that's something that hadn't been done before. And when you're looking at such an incredible depth of canon and so many wonderful movies from the Toho to the legendary films, you can't compete with them. They're amazing. And so what we got to do is, how do we do it from the inside out? How do we tell these character-driven stories in a world where monsters are real? And it's always fun for us to have those challenges. And we, you know, at Safe House Pictures, we've had a lot of experience in doing these big tentpole features, and being able to channel that in a really character-driven world was incredibly fun.
I love that. And, you know, you bring up a really great point that so many of these films are such big blockbuster, you know, but in a 2-hour film, how much can you really get into the nitty gritty? And you can on, a series. So the other thing that I think is really interesting is the dual kind of timeline thing. How did that come about? I love that.
Thank you. We had a lot of fun with that, and part of it is being able to give the context. The question you see in the later movies. Everyone is outfitted with Monarch logos, Monarch suitcases. How did this organization become well funded? Who are they? Where did it all start? And we love the idea of being able to look back and imagine what that may have looked like. And also not doing it from just a historical perspective, but really thinking about the fact that humans are messy. Humans have, interpersonal issues. And what does it look like to be the birth of an organization where you have real human emotions and different wants and needs and different, interpersonal dynamics, and to be able to then carry those same characters into our present day, and be able to sort of see how does someone grow over time. And if you've had a chance to see season 1, we also get to see that you have a little bit of the Rip Van Winkle experience with a couple of our characters who have been able to jump through time, by missing out through time dilation. That gives us all kinds of meaty storylines to be able to chase that makes it incredibly fun and fresh.
And finally, for you, with season 2, it really expands, everything even further. What were the beats that you wanted to, like, when you were like, we're doing season 2? What was your kind of overall theme that you wanted to hit?
Well, we talked a lot about the fact that audiences really responded to this story. They came for Godzilla, they came for Kurt Russell, and they were delighted with what they got from those stories. But they also really responded to this idea of seeing this smaller, intimate story about this man who had two families. And why did he have two families? And we felt like let's continue to look at that. We have this title, Legacy of Monsters, and we always talk about the fact that sometimes a monster in our show is 300 feet tall. Sometimes it's a person sitting next to you. And, with that 2 timeline, we're able to really look at choices that are made and what the consequences of those choices are, and how monsters in our own life are created. And sometimes are we responsible for them? And sometimes are we the monster? And those are all sort of thematically, we look at hurt people, and we look at that idea of who is the monster in our own life. And
Wow.
that's part of where we land.
I love it, and I think you've done that and more with season 2. Thank you so much, Tory. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tory Tunnell! My thanks to her for that behind-the-scenes insight. It's always fascinating, I think, to hear how something this massive comes together. Movies, series, how do you translate that and make it good still and make people care? And I think Tory and the crew has really done a good job of that. Now, Monarch isn't just about secret agencies and legacy families. It's about the people caught in the blast radius of a world that suddenly includes these titans. And in season 2, those emotional consequences hit even harder. So, I speak with Anna Sawai, Kiersey Clemons, and Joe Tippett, who bring heart, vulnerability, and grounded intensity to a universe that could easily get lost in spectacle. We talk about stepping into, this already established Monsterverse that we've seen on the big screen, finding humanity inside large-scale chaos, and what audiences can expect as their characters evolve this season. Because surviving a monster attack is one thing, but living with it, that is something else entirely. Here they are, Anna Sawai, Kiersey Clemons, and Joe Tippett.
Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Hi, nice
Hi.
to meet you. Hi.
Nice meeting you. So, first of all, congratulations on season 2. I love that it continues to explore this world that I love being in so much. One of the reasons that I think I love Monarch so much is that it allows this chance to dive deeper into stories that we might not have been able to in the films. I wonder if that was what drew any of you to it.
I think for me, I was looking to do something that was quite fun and where I could laugh on set because I had just come off a very serious show, and so that was my introduction to it. But it's always nice doing TV because you do have so much time to explore the characters and to tell their stories, especially coming back this season. It was like we knew each other like family, and then to, expand even more, that's always exciting.
Yeah, totally. I feel like the show, as I've said, it's like a Goldilocks show for an actor because the scenes are like there's meat on the bones. It's like there are real relationships and real character arcs and stuff like that. But then you also get to do all the fun stuff like getting buried in sand and jumping and getting thrown. Yeah. So it's like a little bit of both. You get dessert and an entree.
I love that. How about for you, Kiersey?
What was the question again?
What was it? The diving?
Oh yeah, the
deeper
movie.
into-
Yeah. I dove into the world because of the show. That was I'm answering the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making-
Was it?
Y'all didn't. Y'all got off track a little bit. No, I mean I had seen I knew the world, but the show is what allowed me to really, it was a way to become a fan, I suppose, because it's not necessarily a genre for me to seek out on my own. What?
He says he doesn't believe it.
I'm making it all up. I have no idea what I'm saying. No, it's the truth.
No, it's a human story that we get to really develop in the show. So it's.
But those first scripts were like really, really good. I feel like the reading those was like, oh, this is like something different. So like, yeah. I think from the jump, it was like, oh, this feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I watched the first episode of season 1, I was like, holy crap, this is like something we haven't seen before, because I don't really know of, another project that has had these big, huge, successful movies and then done a show taking place in the world that gives so much character development. And it's just as big as the movies, it's not like it's ignoring the Titans, and I mean, it really just goes there both, in spectacle and story. So
yeah,
and then
watching Sean, the FX guys, and Legendary, and everybody getting behind the show to the point, because it looks cinema like it's the same Titans from the movies.
Yeah.
For season 2, as you all you hear season 2 is coming and you start reading the scripts, is there like some fanboying that you get as you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what happens, and that sort of thing? Or are you like, okay, no, this is my next project and I'm gonna like, how does that work for the three of you?
For this show in
season 2 when you were reading the script?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like I was just excited to see these guys, like, because the camaraderie of the cast, I think. So it was just nice to be back on set with everybody. But as far as, how the thing is unfolding, sometimes it's like we're not far enough ahead in the writing. So it's just like you're waiting for the scripts to come in. So yeah, there is a lot of anticipation of like, I can't wait to see what happens, but sometimes it takes longer than you want it to.
But I think when we were reading the scripts, I was really excited when I saw like Godzilla or King Kong, like all these monsters that we know. It was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna show up like this. And then sometimes it'll be a completely new character. Then I'm like, I have no idea what this is gonna look like. And then we look at a board or the previs and get really excited looking at what it's gonna be.
That was a better answer. Use her answer.
What do you think people will take from season 2?
They take from season 2. Ooh. I think a big theme is consequences. We're uncovering a lot of secrets, and we see what people have chosen and how that affects the characters in the modern world. And it's like, wow, a lot has been sacrificed, a lot has been a lot of characters have made mistakes, and it's affected a lot of loved ones. I don't know, like it's quite heartbreaking sometimes.
Yeah, I think on the micro level, like the deepening of the characters, I think they'll take away. And on the macro level, I think it is sort of like, what do you do when there's an existential threat? And there are really great competing ideas that have been posited by the show. So I think it'll be interesting to see if there are like team do this and team do that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Finally, what if there were Titans in our world? Where do you think? What would you do? Would you be hiding somewhere?
Run, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, would you like? Do you have like a what do they call it? A bug out plan or whatever? Like you would, go to some cabin in Montana or something.
I'm finding like a bunker. Or
Yeah,
something.
I'm hiding in the closet.
Her exactly.
Bye.
drinking all the moonshine in my bug out bag.
That's
Kate
a good. I
hides in
love
the
that one.
closet.
Moonshine.
She doesn't want to be gay anymore. I don't know what that is. I'm hiding in the closet, I guess.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for everybody to see Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 on Apple. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Apple
buddy. Good to
TV.
meet you.
Anna, Kiersey, and Joe. Season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters continues to expand the Monsterverse in ways that feel bigger, but also smaller, more personal. And that balance, I believe, is what makes Monarch work. And speaking of legacy, when we come back from this quick break, I'm going to be talking to the Russells, Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell, back here in 60. All right, let's talk about monsters. If you're not watching Monarch Legacy of Monsters yet, here's your quick primer. It expands Legendary's Monsterverse, the same universe as Godzilla and Kong, but instead of just city-smashing spectacle, which there is plenty of, it also focuses on the people. So Monarch is the shadow organization tracking these titans, who are those ancient massive creatures wreaking havoc on our planet. Season 1 gave us dual timelines and family secrets and the emotional fallout of living in a world where skyscrapers can be stepped on. And Season 2, the stakes get even bigger. The mythology deepens, and the Russell family boys become even more central to the story. Kurt and Wyatt are playing the same character, but in two different timelines, in two different ages. So the show isn't just about the monsters. It's about legacy. It's about time. It's about love and fear. And it's about what happens when the world changes and you're left trying to make sense of it, which is why it makes so much sense that I have Wyatt and Kurt Russell joining. They are legacy. You know Kurt Russell from everything from Escape from New York to Tombstone to The Thing, and basically half of modern genre cinema. And Wyatt Russell, who has built a career that's completely his own, from playing Captain America in the Marvel Universe, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, to Under the Banner of Heaven, which was amazing. And I talked to that cast, link to that show in the show notes. And he's now continuing the Monsterverse story in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. In Season 2, their character, I don't know how to say it when they're both playing the same character, but the journey deepens in ways that are epic and pretty personal. So I had to ask them what it's like exploring a legacy on a show about monsters when you're literally father and son. How can you get more legacy than that? So here they are, Kurt and Wyatt Russell.
Congrats on Season 2 of Monarch. It's really such an exciting expansion into, this world that in this particular instance, started with Season 1. I wonder what drew both of you to this role? These two roles? I mean, it's one character, but, what drew you to it?
That was it. I mean, primarily that was it. It was an opportunity to do something that we found out later on. No two known actors, a father and son, had played the same character. One in an earlier area, another in a later area. But there's also the opportunity to take a genre and say, can we do something with this that, in our eyes, upgraded it to a what if? What if this really happened? If we treat it that way, rather than just sort of the really fun of watching two giant beasts, beat the hell out of each other. And I think that it was that potential that also drew me. Yeah, it's the challenge of taking something that in the past has been probably more considered an MMA fight type entertainment vehicle and turning it into something that had more depth. That was a fun challenge to to take on, and I think that we responded to that as well.
I love that. And I wonder, this is for both of you, but Wyatt, I'll start with you. Was there ever a time during filming or watching, dailies or the finished product where you were like, that's my dad? Like, a great scene or a great moment. And same for you, Kurt, that you were like, that's my boy.
No, look, I think everybody in our family, we have a high bar of expectation that you're like, that has been set for a very long time. So when you see somebody do something really well, you do have a sense of pride that like, yeah, we're good at this. We're good at this. We're good at making this believable. Or, there's surprises that you see that you go, oh, wow, I didn't think that was going to work as well as it did. There's a scene in this show that I just get excited for people to watch other sides of, for me, for my dad, the humor element that you didn't get to see a ton of in season 1. There's a scene in I think episode 4. I think it's 4. Yeah. That I just had me cracking up because I know my dad and I know his humor, and there's specific things that I just know are so funny that don't always come out in every movie because they don't allow for it. But in these longer episodes or an episodic show, you do have room to play with things. And so that specifically for me was something that made me feel really happy because I was like, oh yeah, he's really funny and I can be really funny. And so that seeing that was I love that. My experience with it was firsthand because in the first season, I was able to go on. I had a day off very early on, and Wyatt was working with a separate crew, and it was the first scene that the character is introduced in. And I suddenly realized when I was there watching it, I was having a good time watching Wyatt, but then I watched very quickly. My attention turned to what he was doing with the character, and I kind of suddenly realized, oh yeah, he's laying this thing down. This is what they're first going to see. I have to match this. I have to be. And I started paying attention to a lot of different things, and watching him do those things was really fun. It was like, yeah, oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's good. That's really well done. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to play ball here.
I love that. I love both of you in this and everything that you've done. I can't wait for everybody to see Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 so I can start talking about it to people.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Yeah.
Kurt and Wyatt Russell. Wyatt and Kurt Russell. Thank you so much to them for joining me. Season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters is streaming right now on Apple TV. And if you're into grounded sci-fi with giant monsters and emotional weight and an occasional skyscraper issue, this series is for you. I really do love it. All right. That's this episode for Pop Culture Weekly. If you've enjoyed the conversation, make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening. And again, for the video interviews and deep dives, head to YouTube and search Pop Culture Weekly. You can also follow me on socials at Real Kyle McMahon for, all kinds of pop culture stuff, quick hits, and behind-the-scenes moments from interviews like this one. So, until next episode, keep watching, keep questioning, keep celebrating the stories that shape our culture. I'm Kyle McMahon. This is Pop Culture Weekly. I love ya. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Monsters, monsters, along with men. It's so scary. It's so scary. Which one is more scary? You'll have to tune and see.